the Think Marketing Show, the #1 podcast for growing and scaling your business with online video. I'm Heather Torres.
And I'm Sean Cannell, and we're from Think Media. And if this is your first time listening, welcome.
This show is dedicated to helping you learn how to get your content noticed and the latest money-making strategies working right now online. So whether you want to grow your YouTube channel or maximize online video across social media, this is for you. We're answering some of the biggest questions we get in the community, in the Think Media community. And this one's coming at you, Sean. How do you get your first 100 subscribers? 100 is a big deal. And most people think it needs to be 1 million subscribers, but that first 100 is critical.
It is. And, you know, some people get there pretty quick, and some people it feels like it takes a while to get there. I think the first thing is you want to be patient with your own journey. We're all starting, you know, some people have social media followings pre-existing to YouTube, so they can say, hey, I started a YouTube channel, or send an email to their list and grow their channel. Some people have to really bootstrap from zero with no connections, no social media. So it kind of depends on where you're starting. But I think the biggest thing is there's really two different ways to start. And I hear like, it's almost like there's disagreement on this. I think you really just have to have self-awareness. One of the ways to start is actually to just experiment and have fun. To not feel the pressure of niching down, of having a niche, because that can be limiting. Or on the other hand, though, is to actually pick a niche. That's the best way to start. But if you don't have clarity yet, then it can be limiting and you can overthink it. And so I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I think when I first started my homeschool channel, we had a discussion and it was like, what do you want to start your channel about? And that was a hobby that I had, but I didn't know how to make videos. So my experimenting wasn't necessarily just about the content. It was about understanding how to create videos. So my experience has been getting to over 100 and over 1,000, over 15,000 with having a niche. But my experimenting has been in the content creation part of it.
Sure.
So what about you?
Well, you already knew your passion. You already knew that you had some experience there. You'd read the books. It was something you could help people with. You had people asking you about that. But I know a lot of people watching are maybe like, I don't, is homeschool my thing? You know, and in that case, I actually, even though I'm the guy who's like, start with clarity, start with the niche, I didn't start that way. Like on my channel, Sean Cannell, and you can see the entire history of these videos. In fact, my story goes back to 2003. I started shooting video at my church. So I got to do weekly video announcements and learn video production that way. Mm-hmm. Then though, in 2010, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I was all over the place. I mean, I did an Amazing Spider-Man review, and then a how to cook baked salmon in a tinfoil boat. And then I did vlogs with my wife for about 50 days straight. Mm-hmm. And then I did just random videos of traveling and of specific reviews of like the Palm Springs aerial tour. And I was even learning a little bit about search, like Las Vegas horseback riding, but it was just all kinds of random stuff. Here's the thing. I did not have a niche. I didn't have a niche, but I was getting critical skills of the YouTube landscape, of creating content on YouTube. I was basically strengthening my YouTube muscles. So I would argue that if it wasn't for all that experimenting on my Sean Cannell channel, that like Think Media and video influencers wouldn't be what they are today. So it basically comes down to this. If you don't have clarity, just start. Like punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record, and just start posting videos. The thing is, that channel might not even be the channel that succeeds. Like Sean Cannell eventually I think will be something, but it's just sitting there while we're over here on Think Marketing and have Think Media, and I'm doing video influencers with Benji. So that was a learning YouTube channel that led to my successful YouTube channels that I have over here. On the flip side, maybe you are already passionate about running. And so you love running, you do marathons, you do half marathons, you own 50 pairs of running shoes, you're obsessed with all of the different running practices. And you're like, what do I start a YouTube channel about? Maybe running. Yeah. And that is an amazing niche to blow up on. People review shoes. They look for the reviews of shoes. I'm an aspiring runner. So I've done 2 half marathons. So I want to learn. I've been watching all these shoe reviews. I'm subscribing to different people. And I'm finding them. Why? Because I also have a similar specific passion. So don't judge yourself either way. Either go variety or pick a niche, but just get started.
In celebration of the launch of this brand new podcast, we're giving away 2 tickets to our annual conference, Grow with Video Live, a $1,500 value.
All you have to do to enter is make sure you subscribe, leave us a review on Apple Podcast, and then take a screenshot of your review and go to thinkmarketingshow.com for the rest of the details.
Yeah, I think, it is also what's the end result that you want to happen. And there's so many paths of the mountain, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. That if you were to ever think that there is only one right way to get there, it's kind of like starting businesses. I heard one of the sharks from Shark Tank say, in your 20s and your 30s, and it doesn't matter what age you are, it just means when you start getting into that kind of entrepreneurial, experimental, creative phase, all the successful business owners usually have had 1, 2, 3 failed businesses before they got to the successful one. And so he was saying, in your 20s and 30s, just do as much business experimenting as you can until you kind of figure out a little bit of self-awareness, a little bit about what works for you, a little bit about what has momentum, and then go deeper on that. I feel like YouTube's the same. That's been my journey. I mean, I got my Clear Vision channel, Think International channel, my personal channel, my church's channel. I had 4 channels that I'd been working on before I got to my breakout channels that I'm kind of known for today. That's a lot of experimenting. I think we need to have more permission to experiment more and kind of judge ourselves less.
Yeah, and getting to that first 100 subscribers, that's a milestone. And I think sometimes we don't think about like during the experimenting phase and getting into it, that is something to be proud of. But I think it rocks. I think it's awesome to get to your first 100 subscribers because you learn so much on that journey.
It's incredible. I mean, you think about my background's the church world, and I've been in ministry for a lot of years before kind of going into what we'd call the marketplace or, kind of entrepreneurship. And the average church in America is under 80 people. But that's incredible. We're talking about like an incredible community where a pastor is helping people, get through the challenges of life and have a better relationship with God and overcome all types of different things. And they're in this community serving 80 people. We're talking about 100 subscribers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That like, no matter where you are, no matter, I'm a college dropout, small town kid, didn't come from like a big city, didn't come from, all these connections or all these types of things. And you could just start shooting videos in your bedroom and get to 100 subscribers. You have a larger congregation than like most churches in America, if you will, if you kind of use that analogy. So no, you really have to, for sure, don't compare yourself to what somebody else is doing. Don't worry about the person who, by the way, has been putting in the work and has been on the platform for 10 years. You're just getting started, and really celebrate the subscribers you do have rather than really worrying about what you don't have yet.
Thanks for checking out this episode. We hope you got a ton of value. And if you haven't already, subscribe here to the Think Marketing Show wherever you're watching or listening.
And hey, it would mean the world to us if you would rate and review this show on Apple Podcast.
As we grow this movement of purpose-driven content creators, we encourage you to share it with a friend. And we'll see you in the next episode.